Hello, my name is Mary Case and I'm an artist, and this is my art gallery and studio in Ludington, Michigan, and I'm here today to show you a project that you might have in your take-home box. And so we're going to show you how to do this. Now, it's pretty warm, so we decided to sit outside today under the tent where I hold classes, mostly for children. I'm hanging out here with my cat Matisse, and we are going to get started. So in your kit, you will find that you have a board that came with your kit, and it's very important to have this nice surface to work on. And then you will also have a slab of clay, sort of a rectangular piece like this, and an extra piece of clay that's, for practicing sketching, and a lump of clay, and then you'll also have a circular piece. Oh yes, and what are we doing today? We are making a slab wraparound mug. Okay, so the tools that are included in your kit are a carving tool that has a rounded edge and a sharp edge with corners, and then a wooden pointy tool. And if for some reason you would not have one of these in your kit, you can always use a pencil. And then this nice needle tool is awesome too. So you'll also need a jar of water, and we're ready to begin. So the slab that I'm working with today is basically going to be my mug. Now, it's warm out here today, so my clay is drying out pretty fast, and I'm going to keep that, if I need to keep that clay moist, I can add a little bit of water to it. But I really want to plan my design. What am I going to do today? I think I'm going to do sort of a landscape. Now, the idea is that the slab is going to wrap around into a cylinder like so, but you'll have some leftover clay at the end that will become your handle. So this circular piece is going to go on the bottom. And the reason I'm showing this to you is so that you can sort of get an idea of where your design is going to be on this piece. So I'm going to use my my little pencil-like wooden tool to kind of make a mark here to give me an idea of where my composition is going to begin and end on this slab. So I'm going to stretch my slab back out. It wasn't a very straight line, but that's okay. And I'm going to begin my design. I really like landscapes. So today is going to be a landscape. I'm going to use my sort of sharp carving tool with the little angular edge to carve in some trees. I love evergreens, so we're going to do some evergreens on our slab. Now, if you're not a real artsy person, maybe not, your drawing skills are, just at a beginning stage, do not be intimidated by this clay carving process, because this is a lot of fun just to experiment and be brave enough to create. And a lot of that creating just comes from making marks in the clay. You can sketch things and erase if you need to with a little bit of water on your finger. We'll do some erasing. If you dig too deep or need to completely repair an area, you can just take a pinch of clay off your lump with some water and just blend it right back in. Clay is very forgiving. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more trees in here. It's very nice to do things in threes. Odd numbers are always very balanced in the art composition world, so it could be 3 or 5. Even numbers, for whatever reason, they just seem to look too organized to give the overall impression that we're looking for in a composition. So I'm going to have 3 trees here in my little composition. And of course, you can make whatever you want. Now, after I'm done with the clay's really sticking to my tools today, I'm going to add, after I'm done with those trees, I'm going to add sort of a sloping hill going behind my trees. So I got my trees done. That's really cool. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to add a sort of a medallion type object that looks like the sun. So I can use this slab that came with my kit here. I'm going to put my cup off to the side, get this nice and smooth, and I'm going to cut out sort of a sun shape, which is going to be a circle, and I'm going to do it freehand. I'm fairly good at drawing a freehand circle. If you can trace things, I'm sure you can find something in the house that is circular. If you want to do a circle, maybe you want to do flowers or petals, or maybe you want to do your name, which you could carve it in or cut letters and attach. But in this case, I'm just going to kind of take my circle and going to thin it out a little bit, and that's going to be my sun. So I'm going to add that to my my little composition here, and I'm going to do that by using my needle tool and doing a process that's called scoring. So I will score the back of my piece here, that's the sun, and then I'm going to put that sun right above my trees. So I'm going to score a part where that goes, add the water on both pieces, and then by adding some pressure, I can get a really nice big sun right on my composition. So now my composition has some really kind of interesting features. It's got this giant sun, or it could even be the moon. If I want to add some maybe cool kind of sun ray designs coming off of that, I can add that with another carving tool. And I think at this point, I might even add a little cabin. I think a little cabin might be really cool. So I think I'll use my drawing tool for that and just sort of create a little log cabin here that's sort of hanging out behind this tree. I'm going to get my little windows in, and then I'm just going to put some logs. This is just going to be my real outdoorsy type mug, and I'm going to put a little chimney on there and a little bit of smoke. So this is just sort of my version of the great outdoors, and maybe it's because I've been feeling pretty close to nature lately as we finally are enjoying some summer. I think maybe I'll even put a river in here. Get a nice river across my... There we go. Okay, so basically my design is feeling like it is pretty close to being done. I'm going to add a couple little clouds. I know I said usually put things in threes, but I'm just going to put two in there because that's about all the room I have for that. So now we're ready to turn this into a mug, and that is sort of the fun part. Okay, I'm going to turn it upside down now, and I'm going to wrap it around until my mug has this nice cylinder shape. There's this part that's hanging over, and it should match up pretty close to where I drew that line in the beginning. And when you take your round piece here, you're going to kind of fit it on the bottom here. So you'll just adjust your slab mug to accommodate that piece that we're going to attach to the bottom. And whenever we attach a piece, we need to use our sharp needle tool, which is a really great scoring tool. And we are going to score all the way around this slab and score around the bottom of our mug. So this way, with the scoring in the water, we can attach these. It's very important that whenever we attach two pieces of clay, that we do a very detailed scoring process. This roughs up the clay and allows for a good adhesion to the two pieces that we're going to connect. And so we're going to do that again on the bottom of this. And I'm just going to go along the edge of the bottom of my clay piece here, getting my scoring all done. And then add water to the bottom of my slab, and then also to the scored edge here as well. So I'm getting it nice and slippery, and even going as far as to maybe even score it one more time after I've added that water, just to give it a really good slippery and murky surface. It'll connect much better then. So a little more water. It's good and sloppy now, and I can push it gently into place. Now there still is another part that we need to attach as well, and that would be this part to the handle part. So I've got kind of two things going on here at once, because I'm going to need to do some scoring on the edge of my mug here, and then scoring it on the inside of this slab piece, and then adding water to both of these areas. And now I can make that connection, which is really important. I'm going to actually put my hand down into this mug and blend this cylinder. I want to get a good connection and kind of rounding off the top of my mug so I get a nice kind of rounded edge here. Good connection. Taking my finger and just really blending. Now, if you're really worried about getting your hand down inside that mug, it's okay to add or kind of do the cylinder portion first and add the bottom second. Either one of those steps can be reversed. Now I'm also going to take my finger, and I've got my hand inside the mug here, and I'm gently blending the bottom of my mug to the body of the mug, getting a good seal, and I'm just sort of spinning it on my hand. Not everybody's hand will fit inside the mug, so if that doesn't work, you can hold it like this as well. Be comfortable with the clay, because even if you distort the shape of the clay while you're doing all this kind of manhandling it to attach it, when you're all done, you can set it down and reshape it into a better, more consistent cylinder. Got a little grass or something there. Okay, well, we are outdoors. Okay, now what is with this extra piece I have here? So this extra piece is actually going to be your handle, and you get to bend it out a little bit like so, and that will be my handle. So it's now going to be time for me to cut that handle so that it creates the handle look that I'm looking for. I'm going to, probably would be best if I laid it down like this, okay? It's on a flat surface, and I have the ability to cut the shape of the handle that I want. I'm gonna cut these edges here because I want my handle to have sort of a rounded look. Okay, so now we've got this nice rounded look. And then we're gonna cut the inside too. Now you might wanna sketch it first before you cut. And it's important to make sure that it's not too thin. You don't want this to be too thin. Be thinking about the thickness that you might want. And then gently cut, following the line that you drew. and just cut that piece right out. So now we've got this piece that just fell right out, and we've got this cool handle. I'm going to kind of make that go out like so. So I've got this kind of neat little nature mug. Now, this seam that's right here, you can blend that very gently with your finger in some water. Kind of make it blend right into the look of your cup and kind of clean everything up. And I kind of like the way this looks with this crease here. If you don't like that crease, you can actually take a pinch of extra clay and put it right into that crease. And I mean, I can show you how to do that so that if you don't like it, you can eliminate it. You just kind of roll sort of a little wormy snake piece of clay, and you dip that clay in the water, and then you just push it into those crevices, and voila, with a little bit of smoothing with your finger, you can get rid of that seam. And you know, feel free to decorate your handle any way that you like. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm feeling like I really need to do the other one because that's just how I work. So I'm going to roll another one here and put that little guy in the water, and then we're gonna put that in the crack. And I also want to kind of make my design or my drawing kind of become a part of this mug as well. So I'm just gonna kind of finish off the lines of the river here, kind of make it all part of the image. So it just keeps going. All right, I like that. Okay, now your handle and the lip of your mug, you want them to be nice and smooth, because remember, your mouth is going to be on the rim of this mug drinking whatever your favorite beverage is, and you don't want that to be sharp. And it might not seem sharp to you now, but after it's been fired in the kiln, it can create a very sharp edge as the clay vitrifies and turns to more like a stone, and it will be sharper. And then we also want to take the water and maybe smooth out our handle as well, so we don't have that sharpness. Okay, so basically our mug is complete. When you're all done with your project, you can take the time to look at the paperwork that comes with your project, pick out a glaze color, fill out the sheet, because when you send it back to the studio, we will glaze the project for you. These glazes are all specifically picked out to work very well with textures, so that whatever design you do on your mug, you'll get a really nice effect from the glazes. And I'm just feeling this urge to just turn this into a happy sun. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Okay, then you'll put your project back into the plastic bag that it came in, and be very careful when you put it in, because you don't want to smash it, okay? And you want it to go in while it's, you know, still in a softer state, or perhaps leather hard, but do not let it dry out and get brittle, because then it will break before you bring it back to the studio. Push the air out of it, close up the bag, repack your box so that all the heavy objects that came with your kit are in the bottom of the box, like the board. You're welcome to keep the extra clay. If you make something fun out of the extra clay and throw it in the bag, I'll probably fire it for you, and I'll even glaze it. Don't tell anyone that. Okay, so that's our project for today. Happy pottery.